were the indigenous peoples of the American prairies able to sleep on frozen ground without freezing to death? You may be surprised to learn that the secret to their survival was not superhuman endurance, but a deep understanding of physics and materials. When temperatures dropped to extreme lows, Native Americans used ingenious methods of thermal insulation. These methods were honed over centuries and passed down from generation to generation as a great treasure. Watch the video to the end to learn how to use ordinary branches and animal skins to create a thermos effect right on the snow. Watch the video to the end to find out how one detail saved the lives of entire tribes. The main mistake of any inexperienced traveler is trying to keep warm only from above, forgetting about the cold from below. The Indians understood that frozen ground literally sucks heat out of the human body. To avoid this, they created a complex, multi-layered floor structure. The first layer consisted of the roughest materials at hand. Usually this was thick tree bark or large branches from shrubs. This layer served as a foundation and a barrier between the person and the icy shell of the earth. It prevented moisture from penetrating the sleeping warrior's body. The second layer of the bedding was softer and was designed to trap warm air. Air is the best natural insulator if it is properly trapped inside. A special air gap was created between these two layers. This design worked on the principle of a modern double-glazed window. The Indians of the Great Plains often used dry reed stems to make the bottom mat. Reed has a tubular structure, which makes it an ideal storage place for still air. The mats were woven tightly so that they would not crumple into a thin pancake under the weight of the body. This allowed them to keep their distance from the frozen ground. Materials with the thickest pile were always chosen for the top layer. These were often tanned bison or deer skins obtained during the winter. Such fur has the unique ability to retain heat within its fibers. The Indians laid the skins first side up, creating a soft and warm bed. Particular attention was paid to the edges of the flooring, which could let cold air in. Additional rolls of dry grass were often laid around the perimeter of the sleeping area. This helped to create a closed contour inside which a microclimate was maintained. The heat of the human body gradually warmed the entire structure. This double flooring allowed a person to sleep even on bare ice without the risk of hypothermia. The weight of the entire structure was considerable, so it was rarely moved from place to place. In stationary winter camps, such beds were set up with particular care. Mistakes in the construction of the flooring could lead to serious illness. The indigenous peoples of the North often added a layer of charcoal between the layers. Charcoal absorbs excess moisture well and retains heat from the evening fire for a long time. This was especially important in regions with high humidity and frequent blizzards. A dry bed was the key to survival in the long winter. Every warrior knew how to build such a place to sleep in a matter of minutes. The skills of building a warm bed were part of the mandatory training program for young men. Without this skill, a hunter could not stray far from the main camp. The life of the tribe depended on the skill of each of its members. We would be very interested to hear your opinion on this ancient method. What do you think about this insulation system? Write your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to learn everything about the life of indigenous peoples. Want to learn a secret that will change your life and your perception of winter hiking? The Indians of the forest regions used coniferous branches not just as soft bedding. They turned spruce and fir branches into a high-tech filter for the cold. The branches were laid in a specific way to create a springy cushion. First, the largest and stiffest branches were placed on a patch of ground cleared of snow. They were arranged with the convex side up, creating a kind of arched frame. This allowed for empty space under the flooring for air circulation. The first layer protected against direct contact with icy mud. Then smaller and fluffier pine branches were laid on the frame. It was important to point the needles downwards so that they did not prick the body through the skins. Each such branch acted as a small spring under the weight of a person. The multi-layered structure provided excellent shock absorption and comfort during sleep. The height of such a pine bed could reach 30 or more centimeters. The thicker the layer of pine branches, the more reliable the insulation from the ground. The air inside this pillow quickly heated up from the warmth of the sleeping person. This created a stable temperature under the body throughout the night. The Indians knew that fresh pine needles release essential oils when slightly heated. These vapors helped clear the respiratory tract and strengthened the warrior's immunity. Sleeping on such a bed was not only warm, but also therapeutic. Nature provided everything necessary to maintain health in the forest. A special trick was to use larch bark as a finishing coat. This bark is very durable and completely impervious to moisture from melting snow. It was laid on top of the pine branches with the smooth side facing the hunter's body. This made the surface smooth and protected fur clothing from resin. In the next chapter, you will learn how Native Americans used fur to create the perfect thermal environment. Fur products were the pinnacle of technological thought at the time. Without them, it was almost impossible to survive on the prairie in January. Each skin had its own specific purpose. Higher and warmer floors were made for women and the elderly in the tribe. Men made sure that the most vulnerable members of the group were safe. In winter camps, supplies of coniferous branches were replenished every week. Old pine needles were used to light fires in the center of the dwelling. Their skill in working with natural materials allowed the Indians to do without heavy equipment. They did not need synthetic insulation or metal frames. They took everything they needed from the forest without harming it. This was the highest manifestation of harmony with the surrounding world. Do you think modern camping mats are more effective than such natural bedding? Write your opinion. It is important for us to know what you think about this. In the next chapter, we will reveal even more amazing details. You've definitely never heard about this unique secret. Once the insulation from the cold ground was ready, it was time to organize the sleeping area and fur covering. The Indians of the Great Plains most often used bison hides for this purpose, as it was the most accessible and highest quality material. These mighty animals have unique fur that can withstand the extreme cold and snowstorms of the open steppe. The bison was the key to human survival in conditions where winter temperatures dropped to deadly levels. Its hide was not just a material, but a true gift of nature, perfectly adapted to the local climate. The Indians noticed that bison lay calmly on the snow and did not freeze, and decided to use this property. They realized that the secret lay in the special structure of the animal's coat. Bison fur has a complex structure and consists of long, stiff guard hairs and a very dense, soft undercoat. The long hairs repel water and snow, while the undercoat acts as a powerful insulator. This thick down traps a huge amount of still air inside, creating an invisible barrier against the cold. The more air is trapped in the villi, the warmer a person covered with such a skin will be. It is this immobile air that serves as the main and most reliable barrier to the heat escaping from the human body. This is the same principle used in modern down jackets, only created by evolution itself. Without such natural protection, it would be simply impossible to survive on the windswept prairies. No fabric of that time could compare in effectiveness to a winter bison hide. The Indians always laid the skins in a specific way, with the fur inside, closer to the human body. This was done so that the pile would be in direct contact with the clothing or skin of the sleeper. This created an additional soft and warm air layer directly around the body. The body quickly warmed this layer of air, and the person felt comfortable. Even in the harshest frosts, when a blizzard raged outside, a surprisingly comfortable temperature was maintained inside such a cocoon. The temperature difference could be enormous, allowing a person to sleep without outer clothing. This allowed the body to fully rest and relax the muscles, which is important for restoring strength. In the morning, people felt refreshed, not exhausted from the cold. An important feature was that the thick bison fur did not collapse or lose its volume under the weight of the warrior. Unlike other furs, it springs back and retains an air layer even under pressure. This allowed it to maintain high thermal insulation properties throughout the long winter night. The person woke up rested, warm, and fully prepared for new harsh trials. The Indians treated the skins very carefully to keep them soft and supple for many years. For this purpose, they used special complex compounds based on natural fats and animal brains. The women of the tribe spent a lot of energy kneading the skin with their hands and soaking it with mixtures. Without this treatment, the skin would have turned into a hard and uncomfortable piece of plywood after getting wet. A properly tanned hide did not stiffen even in severe frost and did not crack when bent. It remained elastic, like fabric, allowing it to be wrapped tightly around the body. This ensured the durability and reliability of the sleeping kit, on which life depended. A good roba, as such capes were called, served its owner for many years. Often, the skins of small furry animals were used as additional local insulation. Rabbit, beaver, or otter fur was softer and more delicate than the coarse bison hide. It was placed under the neck, around the waist, or wrapped around frozen feet. Beaver fur was especially valued for its density and ability to repel moisture. These small fur pieces helped to close the smallest cracks and gaps through which the treacherous cold could penetrate. This was called sealing the sleeping area when any drafts were eliminated. Every little thing and every piece of fur was of great importance for preserving the body's precious energy. The Indians knew that cold, like water, would find any hole, and they blocked its path. Like this video if you are impressed by the profound foresight of these ancient survivalists. Your support and interest are very important to us so that we can continue to produce new and exciting videos. We strive to find the rarest and most verified facts from history for you. Your activity helps the channel grow and develop. Share this video with your friends on social media so they too can learn the truth about life on the prairies. Every detail of the daily life of indigenous peoples is filled with deep practical meaning and centuries-old wisdom. Perhaps this knowledge will be useful to someone on a modern hike or simply broaden their horizons. Stories of survival are always relevant and instructive for us. We continue to study their unique secrets, which help people conquer nature itself without electricity or gadgets. Many more amazing discoveries and forgotten technologies of the past await us. Stay with us so you don't miss the next episodes about survival masters. What you are about to learn will change your perception of comfort in the wild. If the ground was too cold, the Indians used a method of preheating the soil. They built a large fire in the exact spot where they planned to sleep. The fire burned for several hours, transferring heat deep into the ground. After the wood burned out, the coals were carefully swept aside or buried. A layer of dry sand or fresh soil was poured onto the hot ground. This was done so as not to burn oneself or ruin one's fur. The usual bedding of branches or bark was laid on top. The earth acted as a huge heat accumulator throughout the night. It slowly released the accumulated energy, warming people from below in the most severe frost. This method allowed them to sleep peacefully even in extremely low temperatures. The heat from the earth was gentle and very pleasant for the body. It was important to correctly calculate the burning time of the fire and the thickness of the protective layer. Too thin a layer of earth could damage valuable fur skins. The Indians had a phenomenal sense of temperature and the condition of materials. A mistake could leave a hunter without a bed in the middle of winter. This method was often used during winter hunting expeditions on the plains. A group of hunters could prepare several such warm areas in one evening. While the fires were burning, people repaired their equipment or prepared food. Time was used as efficiently as possible to ensure safety and rest. The warm soil also helped to get rid of excess moisture in the sleeping area. Dry bedding was critical to preventing hypothermia. Water conducts cold much faster than dry air or wood. Therefore, dryness was a top priority when setting up camp. The Indians also knew which types of soil retained heat best. Clay areas took longer to warm up, but also cooled much more slowly than sandy areas. An experienced tracker always chose a place for camp with these factors in mind. Knowledge of geology helped them survive where others would have frozen. In the next chapter, you will learn how Native Americans coped with terrible weather inside their dwellings. We will examine the construction of winter shelters and their internal layout. This will help you understand the full picture of their winter life. Every decision was tested by hundreds of years of practice. Do you think it is possible to replicate this method of warming the ground today? Write and tell us if you have ever tried to warm up a place for a tent with a bonfire. This is a basic question that will help us understand your hiking experience. We read all your comments under the video. The art of survival lay in the ability to use the Earth's resources to one's advantage. Fire and soil became man's allies in the fight against the icy wind. The Indians did not simply adapt. They subjugated the harsh conditions of the environment. This made them the true masters of the wild territories. The winter dwelling of the nomads of the Great Plains was a masterpiece of engineering of its time. The conical shape of the teepee allowed warm air from the hearth to circulate effectively inside. The inner lining of skins, called a canopy, was of great importance. This canopy created an additional air chamber between the wall and the living space. The canopy was attached to poles from the inside and pressed tightly to the ground with heavy stones. It blocked the access of cold air that could seep in from under the outer covering. Thanks to this detail, there were never any drafts at floor level inside the tipi. This created ideal conditions for safe and sound sleep. Cold air coming in from outside to fuel the fire passed behind the curtain. There, it gradually warmed up from the walls and entered the center already warm. This ventilation system ensured a constant supply of oxygen without losing the overall temperature. The Indians lived in comfort even during the strongest blizzards and storms. Along the walls of the dwelling, the Indians laid out their beds on special wooden platforms. These platforms raised the sleepers a few centimeters above the cold floor. Air circulated freely under the platforms, preventing dampness and mold. Dry beds remained warm throughout the winter season. The space between the platform and the canopy was often filled with dry grass or fur. This created a powerful heat shield that protected people from behind. Heat from the central hearth reached every member of the family in the dwelling without obstruction. The teepee turned into a real thermos, retaining energy within a small space. The hearth in the center of the teepee was always kept in working order during the winter. The Indians used hardwoods, which produced a lot of heat and little smoke. The smoke escaped through a special opening at the top of the cone of the dwelling. Special valves allowed the draft to be adjusted depending on the direction of the wind. The walls of the teepee, made of bison hides, were very thick and practically impervious to wind. In winter, they were often additionally insulated with a layer of snow piled up outside at the base. The snow served as an excellent natural insulator, preventing heat from escaping through the bottom of the dwelling. It was a simple and extremely effective solution for nomadic life. The inside of the teepee was always kept tidy, which also helped to conserve heat. Unnecessary items were stored in leather pouches and served as additional protection from the wind. Every detail of the interior had its own function in the overall heating system of the house. The Indians valued organization as the key to successful survival in the harsh climate. Sleep in such a dwelling was protected from all the vagaries of northern winter weather. The family could rest in safety while the icy Arctic wind raged outside. Children and the elderly were placed in the warmest part of the teepee, away from the entrance. Caring for others was the highest law of life in the tribe. The teepee's design allowed it to be quickly assembled and moved to a new location. This was critically important for peoples who followed the migrations of animal herds. Mobility did not prevent them from creating comfort and warmth in the wildest places. The winter teepee remained a reliable home throughout many centuries of history. What if I showed you a time machine made of ordinary wood and bark? The Indians of the eastern forests actively used birch bark as the primary layer of insulation in their huts. Bark has unique natural properties. It completely blocks moisture and cold. By laying sheets of bark on the ground, the Indians created a reliable waterproof barrier. This was critically important, as melting snow could instantly wet the bedding. Wet fur ceases to provide warmth and can cause serious hypothermia. Birch bark served as an ideal separator, keeping the upper layers of the flooring completely dry. The sheets were laid overlapping to prevent any moisture from seeping in from below. In long Iroquois houses, sleeping places were located on wide shelves along the walls. These shelves were also covered with thick layers of elm or ash bark. Tree bark served as an excellent insulator between the cold wood and the fur bed. It was an affordable and very effective material for building a permanent dwelling. In winter, the walls of forest huts were additionally covered with pieces of bark to protect them from the wind. The bark acted as a shield, preventing the icy air from penetrating the gaps between the logs. The Indians skillfully selected materials depending on the season and weather. The nature of the forests provided them with all the necessary resources for construction. In the next chapter, you will learn how Native Americans use clothing as part of their sleeping system. We will take a detailed look at how the cut and materials help to retain heat during sleep. This was an important part of their overall approach to survival in the cold. No detail was overlooked by these experienced hunters. Birch bark was also used to make light and warm bedding that could be taken on a hike. Such a sheet of bark weighed little, but provided excellent protection from the damp and cold ground. A hunter could quickly set up a place to rest in any forest. This made forest tribes extremely mobile and resilient. Knowledge of the properties of various trees was passed down from fathers to sons as great wisdom. Native Americans could determine the quality of bark by the appearance of a tree at any time of year. They knew when it was best to harvest materials so that they would last longer and be more effective. The forest was an open book of knowledge and wisdom for them. Sleeping on tree bark was a common practice for many generations of forest dwellers. They did not consider it a deprivation, but saw it as the natural order of things. Comfort was created with their own hands from what lay under their feet. The ability to see possibilities in simple things was their main advantage. How durable do you think such a bedding made of tree bark was? This is a basic question that will help us explore the topic of the reliability of natural materials. Write your assumptions about the durability of such flooring in the comments. We always welcome your interesting questions and opinions. Today, birch bark is still used in some traditional crafts of indigenous peoples. It reminds us of a time when humans were inextricably linked to the forest. These survival techniques remain a testament to the great ingenuity of humans in the wild. We continue our journey into the world of ancient secrets. In winter, Native American clothing was not just a beautiful traditional outfit, but the most important component of preserving warmth and life. In conditions where temperatures dropped to extreme levels, every item of clothing became part of a life support system. Native Americans often slept in their fur leggings and moccasins, which were specially insulated for sleeping. Taking off clothes in the cold was not only cold, but also dangerous in case of a sudden attack. Special and most careful attention was paid to protecting the extremities, as the hands and feet are the first to freeze. When the body cools down, it reduces blood flow to the legs to save vital organs, so the feet suffer the most. To avoid frostbite, Native Americans used special winter moccasins with double soles. The space between the layers of leather was tightly stuffed with dry, soft grass or deer wool. This natural padding served as excellent additional insulation, creating an air cushion between the icy ground and the foot. In addition, the dry grass effectively absorbed excess moisture, which inevitably emanated from the feet during sleep. If the grass became damp, it was simply discarded and replaced with a new bunch. It was an ingenious and simple solution to the problem of hygiene and warmth in camping conditions. During sleep, clothing provided the first and most reliable layer of insulation, retaining heat directly on the skin's surface. Outer clothing, made of skins, was always loose-fitting, never hugging the body too tightly. This was done intentionally to allow warm air to circulate freely throughout the body. Tight clothing could constrict blood vessels, which was unacceptable in winter. The fur trim, often made of wolverine or wolf fur, created a special zone of still air around the face. No ice formed on the hairs, which was a unique property of these particular furs. In this small space, the air was quickly warmed by the person's breath to an acceptable temperature. This allowed them to breathe warm air and protect their lungs even in the most severe cold. Clothing and bedding worked in close tandem, creating a complex, multi-stage protection for the body. It was impossible to rely only on a blanket or only on a jacket. Everything had to work together. All items of clothing were handmade, taking into account the harsh climatic conditions of the specific region where the tribe lived. What was worn in the southern plains was not suitable for the north. The Indians of the dense northern forest preferred to use moose skins, which were thick and very durable. The inhabitants of the open, windy plains traditionally sewed clothes from bison skins, which provided better protection from the wind. Each natural material had its own unique properties and advantages in combating a specific type of cold. The choice of material was the result of centuries of observation of nature. The women in the tribes were true and unsurpassed masters in sewing warm and functional winter clothing. Their skill directly determined whether a hunter would return alive from a winter expedition. They used specially prepared animal tendons as thread, which were incredibly strong. Such threads did not rot from moisture and did not break under strong tension. The seams on winter clothing were made very tight and neat to prevent even the slightest penetration of cold wind. Often, narrow strips of leather were inserted into the seams to make the joint completely airtight. The ability to sew high-quality clothing was considered a vital skill for the well-being and survival of the entire family. Girls were taught this art from an early age, passing on the secrets of craftsmanship. Many elements and principles of Native American winter clothing were later completely adopted by European trappers and explorers. The newcomers quickly realized that local technologies were much more effective and practical than their own. European clothing made of fabric and wool was heavy, windy, and took a long time to dry. In the wild north, this could cost lives. Leggings made of soft deerskin with fur inside provided excellent insulation for the legs when in contact with a cold bed. They did not restrict movement, allowing the body to relax completely and assume a comfortable position. Indians valued the physical comfort of clothing as highly as its thermal insulation properties. Uncomfortable clothing prevented them from sleeping properly, which led to fatigue. Proper and comfortable clothing allowed them to wake up in the morning feeling refreshed and full of energy for the day ahead. Deep sleep was necessary to restore the energy spent on warming the body and traveling. If a person tossed and turned from the cold or uncomfortable seams, they quickly became weak. Therefore, comfort was a matter of survival strategy. Some tribes had special nighttime sleeping capes that were worn over their main winter clothing. These capes were made of several layers of very thin skins sewn together with an air gap. This layered construction worked in the same way as a modern high-quality down jacket. The air between the layers of skin heated up and retained heat better than a single thick skin. It provided maximum protection from the cold, creating a thermos effect around the sleeping person. Each family had its own little secrets and tricks for making such unique items of clothing. Patterns and sewing techniques were passed down from mother to daughter as the greatest treasure. The loss of such a cape was a real tragedy for its owner. Clothing was literally a second skin for Native Americans, protecting and safeguarding them in harsh conditions. Wisdom in the choice of materials and cut allowed them to live in harmony with the winter forest, rather than fighting it. Sleeping on the cold ground became safe only thanks to this comprehensive approach to keeping the body warm. We continue to study these amazing traditions and technologies of the past in order to remember history. The ability of Native Americans to sleep on the cold ground was explained not only by material adaptations, but also by habit. From an early age, future hunters and warriors were taught to endure sudden temperature changes. Their bodies adapted to the cold, and their metabolism adjusted to the need for constant body warmth. Regular water treatments in cold springs strengthened their blood vessels and improved overall thermoregulation. The Indians felt comfortable where European settlers began to shiver at the first frost. An important factor was their inner confidence in their own strength and the reliability of their camping equipment. The Indians believed that fear of the cold made a person more vulnerable to disease and death. Therefore, they cultivated resilience and calmness in any extreme situation. Before going to bed, they always tried to eat high-calorie food rich in animal fats and proteins. Fatty bison or deer meat provided the body with fuel for the internal stove throughout the night. The digestive process is accompanied by the release of heat, which helped maintain body temperature from within. The Indians knew that a hungry person freezes much faster than someone who has eaten a hearty dinner. Physical activity during the day also contributed to better tolerance of the cold during nighttime rest. Constant movement in the fresh air made their muscles strong and their blood circulation intense. The body got used to working at its limits, quickly recovering during sleep in a fur cocoon. This natural hardening was the result of a lifestyle inextricably linked to nature. The Indians also used special breathing exercises to quickly warm their bodies. They knew how to control the flow of air and concentrate internal energy in the necessary parts of the body. This knowledge was passed down from elders to young people as an important part of spiritual and physical education. Calm and deep breathing helped them relax and warm up faster under their skins. The ability to ignore minor discomfort was an important quality for any inhabitant of the Great Plains. They did not complain about the cold, but accepted it as a natural state of the world around them. Psychological preparedness for hardship made them virtually invulnerable to the vagaries of winter weather. Sleeping on frozen ground was a normal part of life for them, not a feat. Winter games and outdoor competitions helped children develop endurance and fortitude. Boys competed in running on snow and archery in the cold, strengthening their health. Fun and excitement helped them forget about the cold and formed a positive attitude towards the harsh nature. This is how the future great warriors and legendary hunters of their tribes were raised. The elders closely monitored the health of the young people and gave advice on how to harden the body. The experience of many generations allowed them to accurately determine the limits of human capabilities in the fight against the cold. They taught that willpower was more important than any warm fur blanket or skin. The human spirit had to be stronger than the thickest ice on the Missouri River. Many modern hardening techniques are based on observations of the lives of the indigenous peoples of North America. Their example proves that the human body has enormous potential to adapt to external conditions. We are only beginning to realize the depth of their wisdom in matters of managing our own bodies. These lessons from the past are invaluable for modern people striving for health and strength. Hardening was not just an exercise, but a philosophy of life in harmony with the harsh northern world. Every breath of frosty air made the Indian stronger and closer to his native land. Sleeping on the cold ground became a test of this inner strength and connection with nature. We continue to uncover the secrets of their amazing resilience and survival skills. On particularly harsh and frosty nights, Native Americans used a centuries-old method of collective heating to increase their chances of survival. When temperatures dropped to critical levels, individual means of protection were no longer enough. Families or groups of hunters slept together, huddling as close as possible under a shared blanket. People lay so close together that there was virtually no space left between them for cold air to enter. This allowed the heat of several living bodies to be combined into a single powerful source of energy. Inside such an improvised bed, a very high temperature was created, unattainable for a single person. The collective energy of the group warmed the enclosed space under the skins much more efficiently and quickly. The heat loss of each individual was compensated by the warmth of their neighbor. This method of sleeping was not only a practical solution to physiological problems, but also an important social moment. It strengthened invisible bonds within the tribe and increased the level of trust between people. In the face of mortal danger, the feeling of solidarity became literal and tangible. People learned to trust their lives to their fellow tribesmen by sleeping next to them. The most vulnerable members of the community were usually placed in the center of such a dense group. Small children, women, or the elderly who needed more warmth were placed there. They were protected by the stronger and more resilient members of the family. It was a natural hierarchy of care that allowed the future and past of the clan to be preserved. Warriors and adult hunters always took their places at the edges of this living structure. They voluntarily took the first blow of cold air coming from the steppe. Their backs served as a living shield for those in the center of the warm circle. Collective sleep was a proven strategy for overcoming extreme cold for many centuries. Collective sleep also made it possible to organize effective and continuous shifts throughout the night. While some rested and warmed themselves in the warmth of the group, others stayed awake. Those on duty monitored the fire, if it was possible to build one, in the surrounding environment. The rotation allowed everyone to get their share of sleep and warmth. This ensured reliable and continuous protection of the camp from hungry predators, such as wolves. It also saved them from sudden attacks by enemy troops who could take advantage of the bad weather. Those who slept knew that their sleep was protected and could relax completely. The clear division of responsibilities made life in the winter camp more stable and predictable. Shared blankets, sewn from several bison hides, were huge and heavy. They were made especially large so that several people could be covered at once. One such huge blanket covered the entire group, creating an airtight dome. Sometimes it took several people to lift and carry such a blanket. Women sewed them with great care and skill, putting a lot of effort into their work. Only the warmest, thickest, and strongest parts of the animal skins were used for such products. The seams were coated with fat to prevent drafts. Such blankets were considered the property of the whole family and were highly valued for their unique protective properties. Sleeping under a shared fur blanket provided a sense of psychological security and physical warmth, even in the most severe cold. People could feel each other's breath and understand that they were not alone in the face of the elements. This helped to combat the fear of darkness and cold that is inherent in humans. The comfort created under the skin was in stark contrast to the icy hell outside. The Indians understood perfectly well that surviving alone in the winter prairie was an almost impossible task. The chances of a lone traveler survived were close to zero with every hour that the temperature dropped. Mutual assistance and the sharing of all available resources were the basis of their nomadic life. Selfishness in such conditions was considered the worst vice and was punished by expulsion. Even the tribe's dogs, the faithful companions of the nomads, were sometimes used for additional warmth in sleeping quarters. The dogs slept at their owner's feet or at the edges of their beds, giving off their animal heat. Dogs' body temperature is higher than that of humans, so they acted as living hot water bottles. This was an ancient and very effective way of providing additional warmth for beds. Animals were not just servants, but faithful companions and helpers to humans in their struggle for life. Dogs also benefited, as sleeping next to people was warmer than sleeping outside. This symbiosis between humans and animals helped both species survive the winter. There was even an expression for a very cold night, the night of 3 dogs. Collective warmth was an important symbol of unity and the indomitable strength of the indigenous people in the face of the harsh elements. No frost or wind could break the will of people who stood together as one. Sleeping on the cold ground became easier and more peaceful when you could feel the shoulder of a friend nearby. We continue to admire their wisdom and strength of spirit in overcoming difficulties. Today, these principles of collective survival are actively studied in special training schools and extreme tourism. They remind us of the importance of cooperation and simple human care for those around us. The experience of the Native Americans remains a living testimony that together we are stronger than even the most violent winter storm. Our journey into the world of ancient knowledge will definitely continue in the next episodes of the channel. The wisdom of our ancestors on how to survive in the cold remains incredibly relevant today. Many of the principles developed by Native Americans formed the basis for the creation of modern Arctic clothing and equipment. The idea of layering, the use of air chambers, and protection from moisture have all been known for centuries. The experience of indigenous peoples proves that understanding the laws of nature allows humans to thrive in any conditions. By observing the habits of wild animals and the properties of plants, the Indians created a unique material culture. This culture was completely environmentally friendly and did not require any complex industrial technologies for its implementation. We can only admire how such impressive results were achieved in everyday life with such simple means. Every detail of their equipment was honed to perfection by centuries of survival on the land. The Indians knew how to see opportunities where others saw only insurmountable obstacles and mortal danger. The icy ground became a warm bed for them, and the frosty wind a source of fresh breath. Their intelligence and observation skills allowed them to be the rightful masters of their vast wild territories. This inner freedom and strength of spirit inspired everyone who encountered them in the past. Studying the way of life of indigenous peoples helps us to reevaluate the potential of human adaptation to the environment. We learn to appreciate simple and effective solutions that are literally at our feet. The legacy of the Native Americans is a reminder that humans are capable of overcoming any difficulties with their minds. We continue to discover new facets of their amazing craftsmanship and profound wisdom. Modern materials such as membranes and synthetic insulation only attempt to replicate the properties of natural fur. However, many polar explorers still prefer traditional clothing made from animal skins for long expeditions. This is the best proof that the technologies of the past have not lost their practical value today. Nature remains the best teacher for those who are willing to listen and observe its manifestations. Native American methods of heating the earth and building winter tipis inspire architects and environmentalists around the world. The principles of energy efficiency and the use of local materials are becoming the basis for the sustainable development of modern society. We are returning to our roots to find answers to the climate challenges of the future. The wisdom of our ancestors serves as a reliable compass in this difficult search for harmony with the planet. Each chapter of our research lifts the veil of mystery over the amazing life of the peoples of the Great Plains and forests. We hope that this information has been useful to you and has broadened your horizons in the field of history. Native American culture is rich not only in military exploits, but also in profound knowledge of everyday life. We will continue to share the most interesting aspects of their lives in future videos. Thank you for joining us in delving into history and learning ancient secrets of survival in the wild. Your attention and interest help us develop our channel and search for even more unique facts. We believe that knowledge of history makes us wiser and stronger in the face of any modern challenges. Stay with us, because there are still many mysteries and discoveries of the great past ahead of us. May the example of the Native Americans inspire you to explore your roots and the capabilities of your own body and mind. Humans are amazing creatures, capable of turning a cold desert into a cozy and warm home for their families. Our history is a journey of constant searching and finding strength in unity with the world around us. We are proud to share this knowledge with you in each new issue. This concludes our detailed analysis of the topic of Native Americans sleeping on the frozen winter ground of the prairies. We hope that you now have no doubt about the genius of their simple and effective solutions. We look forward to seeing you in the comments section to discuss the most interesting moments of this video and your own ideas. See you again soon in the vast world of Native American history and culture. Which of the Native American survival tactics in cold weather did you find most incredible? Perhaps it was warming the ground with a bonfire or using double fur flooring made from bison hides? We prepared this episode to show you the depth of wisdom of indigenous peoples in their struggle against the harsh environment. Please suggest topics for our future videos that you would like to see on the channel in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell to be the first to know about new research on the life of Native Americans.